cover classes.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
nice to hear. Okay.
Maybe, yeah, my story was a little bit disorderly, so please ask questions.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so why do you want to be a teacher? I saw like you were working in software engineering. So why did you
Yeah,
switch?
it allowed me to actually switch my career because I studied English uh, thanks to, in part, working in IT.
Mhm.
Yeah, my work in IT wasn't really, I didn't have stellar career, didn't have much to lose there, to be honest.
Okay.
And that was in the time when IT in my country was just starting, not many good jobs, not many opportunities. Now it's really popular, but 10 years ago when I left, it wasn't that. 10 or
Okay.
8 years ago, it wasn't that mm, respected and profitable industry. And I worked in big corporations where I didn't get to see results of my labor really. And you know how it works in big corporations. Sometimes you do a project and then in the end of the project, they decide to just cancel it. It's not
Yeah, that's
profitable. Management team decide, okay, we need to divert resources to another place.
yeah.
And um, with teaching, at least I get to see that I'm helping someone. And to be honest, money wise, teaching in Vietnam, I get almost the same money that I got when I was working in IT. For example, as a BA business analyst, I get the same salary.
Okay. Thank you. Now, what's the best way to teach English according to you?
To be honest, it's quite different from how we teach uh, in centers and especially public schools.
Yeah.
Um, most the best way is real life communication with somebody who knows language about something that is important for a child, for the learner, something that grabs his attention, maybe something he or she is doing right now, or uh, something that he or she is interested in. Um, much like children learn their native language. So we don't need to especially um, worry about discipline or mm, control their attention. A child is doing something, and the parent comments on that. Ah, you're sitting. Oh, you're standing. Oh, come here. Oh, grab your cup and come here. And here's the cup, and child is coming because he wants to drink, for example. So these things that accompany language, they are uh, very bright in the mind of the child. So uh, we don't need to make them more pronounced because the real world and something that is important, something that touches the needs of the learner, it already creates that intense feeling. So when that intense feeling is combined with language, um, that memory is created, and language later is produced. So input is important first. So I'm trying to get my students a lot of input. I'm constantly talking, even if it doesn't. Mm, so try to fill the pauses with something that is easy for them, something uh, relating to the lesson,
Okay.
even if it's not in the book, in the current lesson plan. When they get more input, the more input they get, the more chance they have to learn.
So, what are some successful teaching methods you use?
As I told you, I use games,
Mhm.
various games, appropriate to their levels. For kids, they're very simple, and they serve many purposes other than the one I mentioned. They also mm, make them interested, excited. Sometimes they're bored sitting for a long time and they just need to move. Mm,
Okay, that's nice. Okay,
what
so
also depends on the task.
okay, yeah,
Sometimes students ask me to correct their pronunciation, and I give them methods. I give them tasks that are uh, that will reach this goal, but they will be a bit different.
okay. So now you know there can be some students which can be difficult to handle.
Yeah.
So how do you handle a problem student in your class?
Mm, Usually, I just go step by step. First, I apply very mm, gentle measures. I just tell students, explain them how their behavior can affect me and other students. That if they make noise, they don't let learn. Don't let other students who really want to learn. Uh, don't let them learn, and they don't let me teach. And my voice can go worse if I raise my voice, etc., etc. Yeah, if they don't heed my request, if they don't pay attention, I apply other measures to let them let um, no let them stand this. Third, second, I just try asking them if they grab my attention, or I try to busy them answering my questions, and then I can grab them on my side. If they answer successfully, they can understand. Teacher is actually not my enemy. He is kind of my ally, my friend. So maybe I can be on his side, and maybe I can make him happy, and he'll make me happy if they answer. I praise them if they answer successfully. If they refuse to cooperate, uh, it will be more difficult. I will apply other measures. I will kind of let them stand for a while, or ask them to stand at the back wall of the classroom. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
ask teaching assistant to help me, of course, if I have a teaching assistant.
Okay. Now, how do you make sure your students understand you?
Hmm. Looking at their face, listening their replies, and if I want to really make sure, I try to use simple language and rephrase my sentences. If they don't seem to understand, I use something to help the language, something in addition to speaking, pictures, gestures, anything I can get my hands on.
Okay. How do you adapt your teaching methods to meet the needs of different students? Some
Mm,
can learn quickly and some are a bit slow learners. So, how do you adapt your teaching methods?
Slower students need easier tasks, of course, and more successful students um, or more intelligent students uh, can handle more difficult tasks. So hence, from that, I give students that are challenged. I give them simple things and still praise them if they do something that if they have even small success, they should understand that they're became a little bit better.
Okay. So now, how do you handle students who struggle with proficiency?
Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah. How do you handle students who struggle with proficiency?
Struggle with proficiency.
Proficiency, yeah, proficiency
What kind of proficiency? Language
in,
proficiency?
yeah, overall in the language, usually with speaking, listening.
For example, who cannot speak at all, right?
Yeah, like they will have a lagging or maybe a slow response. They don't understand clearly, so they
Yeah,
cannot.
yeah. These students
So in overall,
usually mm, don't like being under stress when all their classmates are watching. So I tried not to challenge them and not to push them too much when they're kind of assessed by their classmates. I try to ask them easy things, answers that require questions that require short answers. They on their stage they may be on the input stage still. For example, if they don't speak yet, it doesn't mean that they will not speak forever. It's like a child who is 2 years old or 1.5 year old. If he or she speaks very little, it doesn't mean that they won't speak forever. They're still acquiring language and they understand much more than they can speak. So
okay,
once they're sure of the mass of language that they have, they can become more confident. Once the input is enough, and once they are able to overcome their barriers by exposure, they can spend some time in the classroom, understand that it is not scary. For example, that their classmates are friendly, teacher is friendly. They need to time, of course, to get used to the teacher. Yeah.
okay, thank you. Now, what strategies do you use to assess students' progress? How do you check the students' progress?
Students' progress, right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah. F- first, first I do it subjectively. I try to just know my students well and listen to them. If they make progress, I usually notice this, but of course it's subjective. If it's over the long time, I may miss something. Of course, traditional centers required me to do uh, tests, usual English tests.
okay. Now, what's a challenge you faced in the classroom?
To be honest, many challenges. I
Which
need
one
to
was
be
the toughest?
if you want to be teacher, you will meet many challenges. I always need to be 100%, my 100% energy, health. If I'm not, the lesson will be not perfect. Mm, need to pay attention to many things, and uh, with bigger uh, classes, discipline sometimes a challenge. When I did covers for public schools, discipline was a challenge. In other places, some students with uh, yeah mental disabilities were a challenge, and sometimes I wasn't qualified, to be honest, to teach them. So they needed a special teacher for kids with disabilities. Mm, Other challenges: lack of materials in some centers. I work in Quang Ngai province on the outskirts of the city. It was a small center. They lacked um, any teaching materials except books and whiteboard, so I had to restrict my and buy whatever I could buy and restrict my activities.
Okay. Now, how do you involve parents in the learning process?
If I get to talk to parents,
Mm, yes.
if I can, which happens not so often, I ask them to talk to kids so that kids could understand that that English is not something far away, far from life. So if a parent can speak English a little, they can use their free time, 15 minutes a day, to just talk to a kid. 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It will be great to show that it's not something just imposed on the kid at school.
Okay, yeah, that's right. And how do you handle classroom time management?
Classroom time management. Mm, just using clock. Um, and yeah, that's about it. I don't. I just have a feeling if the activity lasts longer than it should be, and we have more things to do, I just have an intuition for that and look at the clock sometimes.
Okay. How do you assess students' pronunciation and intonation?
Mm, similar response using my
Okay.
the exposure to the language. I just hear if it sounds natural or close to something natural, or if it sounds completely off. And with, with pronunciation, I'm usually correct. With intonation, sometimes I can make errors as I'm not a native speaker. I can make mistakes with intonation in my speech, even sometimes. With pronunciation, it's easy.
Okay. How do you involve weaker students in your lessons?
I'm sorry, weaker students.
Students, yes,
Yeah,
in
they
your
need
lessons.
they need help from their peers sometimes. I ask them, they cannot reply. So someone who sits near to them usually starts to help. If depends on the class, or I can tell them explicitly, can you help him? Can you help her? And the Vietnamese are friendly. They always like to help each other.
That's true. Okay. Now, teaching can be stressful. So, how do you manage the stress from this profession?
Oh my God. I come home and I use all I can to manage my stress. N- Usually, I try to use healthy methods like cold shower, chocolate, uh, gym, and just talking with friends,
Okay.
eating a lot.
Yeah, that's true. Now, we are going to talk about some scenarios. Okay. So, now, in this scenario, you are teaching a group of teenagers who are not interested in learning grammar. So, how would you make the lesson more engaging?
In this case, I won't explain them grammar explicitly. I will use these structures in the sentences. Either, for example, in the beginning of the lesson, I will use this structure telling story about me, or if you want, you can give me example of grammar
Just
structure.
you can take any random example. That's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, just any scenario you can imagine.
Mhm. For example, uh, present continuous for future, describing something that will happen in the future.
Yes.
I can tell them my plans tomorrow, what I'm doing tomorrow. For, for example, tomorrow I'm having another class in new school, exciting school. Pre- Preferably, I will use something that grabs their attention. And then
Yeah.
mm, I will ask them to tell what they're doing tomorrow. At this point, because they listen to me, hopefully, they may understand that saying this doesn't mean that I'm doing something now, for example, sitting on the chair or listening to a teacher, that something is a plan for tomorrow. If they don't understand that, I can tell them explicitly, but there's no need to write this on the board that this tense means something in the future. I can um, explain this, so to speak, through examples, through stories, not even explain, but engage with them and mm, and then do something fun through a game. For example, if it's a small group of students, I can divide them onto teams, and one student says something about another who's in front of him or her about uh, what he thinks another student will be doing tomorrow or next week. And next student should say if it's true or false. Then they change to practice that,
Okay.
something like
Yes.
that.
Okay. Good. Now, in next scenario, you have a class of 10 young learners who are starting to lose focus. So how would you get their attention back?
Mhm.
Young learners like in kindergarten level.
Now, sorry, can you repeat the last thing? Young
So
learners of
yeah, like kindergarten level, three
kindergarten.
years, 4 years, 5 years old. Yes, like this.
Okay, the easiest way is to turn on some video relating to the topic that will grab their attention. But if I cannot, or if I don't have a screen or a speaker, now by the way, it doesn't have to be video. It can be just audio, a song. But if I can't, I can grab their attention with something, with my body language or with a horn, small horn, to grab their attention. Or I can ask the TA to help me with their focus
Okay.
if I have a TA. Yeah. Or just change activity. It can be a sign that they're just tired and their attention span is short, and I'm doing something very long for more than 10 minutes.
Okay. That's great. So now the last one is like imagine you are in the class right now. So we are young learners. So you have to teach the words happy and sad. So imagine you are in the classroom right now and you are going to teach us happy and sad as young learners. So can you do?
Kindergarten level, right?
Yes, yes, like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years old.
hmm That's very easy. You just need to use your face. That's all. Now
So
I'm
you
happy.
can, yeah,
Yeah, I feel good. I am happy, and now I'm sad. Now I'm
yes,
sad, and I want to show you pictures. If I have pictures, with bad weather, rain, and sad people, I can show it to learners. And and conversely, if I have pictures of happy people playing in the nature, I can show these pictures. But if not, I can do a small role play with my TA. For example, my TA takes something away from me. For example, my speaker. I look at her and I became very sad. It's easy.
Okay, that's very nice. So that's the end of the interview, and thank you for sharing your experience and insights today. It was
You're
great to
welcome.
learn more about your teaching approach. Now, I will talk with the owner of the center and HR, Miss Wei, and we will let you know shortly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Okay.
your time.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Thank you,
Thank you.
Huê,
Thank you.
yeah, for attending the interview today. Okay, hope
Nice.
everyone will have a good night. Okay,
Yeah,
Okay,
good
then.
night.
bye bye.
Goodbye.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye bye, Huê. Bye bye,
Okay.
Rachel. Bye bye again.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Anh ơi, bây giờ để cái link này để cho thầy ghi vô luôn hả anh, hay là mình tạo một cái link mới ạ?
Ờ, hôm nay hình như là có một thầy thôi đúng không?
Dạ em nghe chị quản lý nói là hình như có 2 thầy á anh.
Đợi anh Don xíu. Rồi chứ
Dạ.
chứ mình cứ out link đây ha, tại vì cũng sắp hết thời gian cái link này rồi đó. Tại vì Google Meet nó
Dạ.
chỉ có được
Dạ.
tầm 30 phút, 40 phút gì.
À dạ, vậy cái gì để em thoát cái này nha anh, rồi có gì nếu như mà có thì anh
Gửi link
cái
khác
link
cho
lên
em. Ok.
Zalo cho em. Dạ,
Ok,
dạ
ok,
rồi em
ok.
cảm ơn anh ạ. Rồi em chào anh ạ.
Ok. Bye bye Rachel.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye bye.